Hi everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters. Well, I've got an exciting new build for you guys today. This is a brand new kit from a new company called Werke. This is the 35th scale Faun L900 with trailer. And this is a beast of a vehicle and kit. The Faun L900 was originally developed in the mid-30s in Germany, and it was kind of like a giant prime mover. And if you notice, even just by the box art, it's got a Panzer II in the bed as well as pulling a Panzer II. So those are about 9 tons each. So clearly this was a very heavy prime mover here. It's a beautiful kit. It's all brand new and will be arriving out at least in the United States, in about mid-January from what I've been told. And it'll have a retail of about $79, which is a great value for a kit of this size because the truck is absolutely huge as well as the trailer. So I've done a little review video just recently showing you all the different parts that are inside of it. But now what I thought I would do is start building this beast. And man, the diorama possibilities on this are incredible. Think about putting Panzer IIs in there, 38Ts. You could even put a flak 18/36 in the back of it. I mean, it's that big of a vehicle. So quite a few different things we can do with it. So I'm very excited about this one because this is something different. It's not another tiger or a panther, which, man, another panther. But no, seriously, this is an exciting kit because of all the, the possibilities you can do, especially with soft skins. I like doing those occasionally. No tracks and just a couple of wheels on it. So enough talking about it. Let's get started. Okay, we're going to start off building the chassis on the truck first and foremost. A couple things I want to point out to you. We're going to show you the instructions on the kit, and I really do appreciate instructions like this. They're very clear and concise. I like that every new part that you're going to be adding to the piece is labeled in blue, so that way you can see going forward what you're adding, that you're not forgetting a part. Nothing's worse than getting a certain distance into a model kit and realizing you've left a little part off. So you see how the instructions are right there. Pretty easy and straightforward. And one other thing I want to point out to you guys too. My last build video, I had spilt my Tamiya modeling cement. And someone on the internet, and I apologize, I can't remember his name right now, pointed this out to me on Thingiverse. This is a glue holder or Mark Fit or any of the square bottle Tamiya stuff holder, and it even has a locking mechanism up on top here, so we can put our glue in there and we shouldn't be able to knock it over. Even myself won't be able to knock it over inside this. So let's go ahead and start working on the construction. I've got all the parts laid out for the giant piece here. This thing is like a foot long, how big this piece is here. And what I think I'm going to do on this is I think I'm going to go down the line and keep adding. Actually, this goes upside down. This goes like this. Keep going down the line and adding everything onto one side, letting that set up, and then coming back, and then we can add it and gradually put it on like this. Because if we put it on too much and you start gluing these on, you have to flex this a lot and you'll be pulling other things apart. So I think if we work it that way, it'll probably be the easiest way to get everything to sit in here. And there is one other little brace up in the front here too we don't want to forget about. And then that'll get fitted right into there. Well, actually, that must go, that goes at an angle actually like this. Just like that. And then we can glue the front bumper on just like that. And then you'll see how the parts all line up just like this. They all have a little mating area on the other side here that you'll be able to basically click them into place with a little bit of glue. And the only thing you got to just remember on this is that make sure the holes go down, or the circle parts, half circles go down, and that is for the drive shaft to go through. You don't want to glue them in the wrong direction. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to get all of these glued into place, and then we will glue the other side on, and then we will start working on some of the other parts. Okay, we've only let this set up now for a few minutes, and I've went and put adhesive on this side as well. And the reason we don't want to let it set up too much is we want to be able to still be able to flex it slightly to get everything to go into place there. And hopefully this should work as we go down the line. Making sure you hear that click for each one of the pieces. Get everything lined up, including the front here. And there we go. There is our really, really long framework on that. So we'll let that dry. I've gone ahead and assembled these sideboards that are going to get glued right into place just like this. Just like that, actually. And we'll get those glued on and let this all get set up for a little while. Okay, now that we have that portion all set up and dry, it's now time to put these, they're calling them the bed load supports, and they basically are going to support the entire bed of the vehicle. Now, a lot of them look very, very similar. So what I would recommend doing is only cutting one or two off the sprue at a time. That way you don't get them confused with one another, and then that way you're not putting them in the wrong position. So I know this is number 26, so number 26 gets mounted right here, and this is 27, and 27 gets mounted just forward of it. Now there's a grand total of 7 of these that after I get this one in, I'll give you an idea. I think it showed you in the instructions. So we will go down the line and fix each one of these into position, and then we'll come back and move on to the next step. A quick little builder's tip here. You'll notice that these raised little joint or pieces on each one of these supports, you want to make sure that they're all facing towards the back of each one of the pieces. I just noticed I put one of these on just thinking they were universal, but you want to make sure according to the instructions that they all face the back. That way your bed supports will all line up properly as well. Now we're assembling the differentials in the back, and they're pretty easy and to accomplish this. One thing you just got to remember is, you can see on this one, this is the back one, that the angle of this one goes down, the angle of the other one goes up. So that way when you put them together there, you'll be able to put them around the leaf spring. Now, speaking of the leaf spring, I just cut that one off, and you'll notice in the instructions they give you 3 different types of leaf spring, A15, 16, and 17, and that is all depending on the weight that you're going to be putting in there, because obviously one of them is more flexed out than the next. So I think I'm going to probably go ahead and put the heavier load one on, the A17, and that is strictly because the possibility of putting another tank in the back is really, really cool. So we want to have it laid down with as much weight as possible. But you do have the option of putting other different one in. And at the very back of the book, I'll show you back here, they've got a, if I can find it now, they've got lots of color charts. Oh, here it is. Here are loads examples of putting different vehicles or flak guns or anything in there, and then the tonnage that would be involved with it. So clearly the 8-9 ton Panzer I and the 38T, even the flak 18/36 is 7.5 tons. So you can see that on there. So that gives you a pretty good idea. I would more than likely probably put a 38T or a Panzer II in there if we can get one of those built up. But that way it'll give it the look like there's some weight in the back of it. Okay, this next part we want to accomplish all in one gluing, and the reason we want to do that is so everything lines up properly. So we will get the 2 leaf springs accordingly glued into place, and we, like I said, we don't want that to set up at all. We're going to apply our cement, and this is what I was talking about with the angle going properly. And we should be able to drop that right into place there. Secure those. And then we also want to get the drive sprocket in as well now. So, because if you don't do it now, it is kind of going to be difficult later on to get in there. So we'll glue that side in, and then we will mate the other side now that it's all set up there. So let's let this dry, and hopefully it stays nice and straight like we have it right now. So we'll keep an eye on it while it's drying. Actually, I just decided just to flip it over and let it dry this way because both pieces are touching the mat, so we know that they're nice and straight. Now I am going ahead and starting to assemble the cab of the vehicle. And we're going to let that set up for a minute. We also have the back seat that we need to put in there as well. One other quick thing on the last step I forgot to point out to you. You need to install the muffler, the big, long, giant muffler in there too before you put these on. Right after I put it on and filmed it, I realized it was sitting right next to me the whole time, but definitely, because you can't get it to slide underneath the differentials if the piece is already, if they're already glued in. Okay, we're still working on the cab now. Now we're applying the sides of the cab. And they are just like that. Making sure we put enough adhesive on to make sure they're nice and sturdy. And then once those get dried on, we can go ahead and start assembling the dash on the other side. That will get glued into place just like that. We also have our steering wheel and steering column. That gets glued in just like that. And then we will, once they all get dried, we can go ahead and mate the two of them together there. So we'll let this set up for a little while and we'll come back and then we should be able to mount it onto the frame. Okay, we've got this all glued together, everything except for the back of the seat, which I think will be easier to paint separately and then drop in. And then after that, we can go ahead and drop it right into place there and glue that down. And now we can start working on the hood. And now we can go ahead and assemble the hood. And a couple of basic parts that are going to go together on that. There is the top, the sides, like right here. That's going to get glued into place. And then basically the grill. And then there's one more support unit that goes up in behind here to give it a little bit extra stability. And that's about all the pieces that go into that. So I'm going to get those glued up now, and then we can go ahead and attach it to the frame. And with those parts assembled, we can go ahead and glue the hood on, just like that. Okay, I've gone ahead and assembled the steering linkage. And it is possible with the parts that they include on this to make it so it can actually steer the front wheels. I'm not too super interested in that. I find that anytime any of that stuff works or moves like that, I end up breaking it down the road. So I'm just going to secure it in place, glue it just the way it is, let it set up like that. That's fine with me. Now I've also gone ahead and assembled the big toolbox that goes on the side. That is going to get mounted underneath here. We're just letting this dry a little bit more. We're going to finish sanding it, and then we'll mount that into place as well. Okay, we've gone ahead and attached the fuel tank on the other side here, and also put the cap on, as well as this steering linkage. And you can see how it comes. It actually comes through the actual hood here area, or the engine cover, and comes out on the side here, and you just mount that up. Now the kit is calling out that we build up all of the wheels, and it's basically wheels and tires, I should say. The wheel has a front and back to it that will glue together and hold the tire in there, and then it's the same mount for all 6 of the wheels on it. We're going to hold off on doing that for right now because I think it's just going to be way easier just to paint these hubs and then pop these in there, and we won't have to worry about getting it on since this is already black, and then we can just dull coat over it and lighten that down. So now what we can do is we can move on to this huge bed that we're going to put on here, and there obviously is a certain way to put it on. So we will mount that into place, and I've just started cutting out all of the sides for it here. You can see we have quite a few of those to put on as well. So we'll get all of those cut out and all of those glued into place, and then we'll also glue the bed down as well. Okay, let's go ahead and attach the fenders now that we've got the bed on. And it locks right into position just like that. You can see there's some tabs underneath there that you got to line up. Get those nice and straight. And then as it goes for the back, there's a little arrow right here. Gives you direction how to put that in. And that kind of locks between two other tabs in there so it can't slide any one direction. So we'll put some glue on that and glue it into place. But also too, we'll show you the bed is complete too. There are a bunch of little latches that we needed to install in there, and that is for the metal hoops that go over the top that would hold like a canvas cover on it. So let's get the rest of these fenders glued on, and then we can move on to the next step. Okay, now the next step we're going to do is we're going to install the toolboxes on both sides of the vehicle. There are a couple different ones we need to put on. This one will go right up in here, and there's matching one of the same one for the other side, plus another toolbox set. Pretty easy to assemble. They're usually like 2 or 3 parts total. So we're going to put that aside. We've got all of the seats cut out, and we're going to start painting those up pretty soon. And what I want to show you on this is we've gone ahead and attached the wheel to the tire. Now, obviously, before that, we went ahead and painted it the German gray that it's required, just to get a general idea to see how all the wheels fit on. Pop like that, and like that. And you can see it is a really cool looking vehicle right there. It's just so massive. In fact, I took a few minutes earlier and was digging for something of scale wise that this could hold. And here was a 38T type chassis for a Martyr that I believe this vehicle could fit back there. Size-wise, it certainly fits for it there. So you can see the diorama possibilities that we can come up with using this vehicle and then having one even towed behind it. Now, this is something I'm going to show you guys that I probably won't be putting on this particular vehicle, and that is mainly because I do plan on putting some type of tank in the back. And that is this little jig that they've included inside the kit and some brass wire. And with the brass wire, you can go in here and fit it in and carefully bend it around and all the other places here. Go through the whole thing. And when you're done, if I can grab it, is you have the hoops for the top that would normally hold the canvas cover. So they're made out of brass. It's actually pretty easy to bend and shape these. We did put in, like I was showing you earlier, all the early brackets. So if you wanted to, you could put all the hoops in there. Or this little holder on the side right here, this holds all the hoops when they're not in place on the back of the vehicle. So now what I need to do is I need to do a little bit more stuff working on the little hooks and latches and all that stuff on the front. All really easy, straightforward stuff. We've got a few other little pieces on the back, like I put the license plate holder right here, and then there's another piece that goes back here. And I know this looks like these are not sanded, but this is sanded. It's just that white when you flex the piece on it right there, but that is perfectly smooth. That'll all disappear once we get paint on the vehicle. So we're going to get all those little parts on, and then we will come back and show you what it looks like. One other quick thing, I was watching some of the review video that I was doing, and I showed you this guy, and I talked about going on Thingiverse to do this. This is actually something I printed on the 3D printer, this little stand for it, and man, it has been a godsend when it comes to working here, because I leave my glue in there and it is virtually impossible to try to spill it. So if you have a 3D printer, definitely look up on there for a Tamiya glue holder. And of course, like I was telling you earlier, it holds the paint retarder, all the panel liners, all those other stuff will fit inside there. Okay, here's our mostly completed model. And what I mean by mostly completed model, there's a few items that we've left off purposefully, like the windshield, the canvas cover, the seats, things like that, that we're going to paint separately and put them on later. Now, I did go ahead and spray a thin little coat of Tamiya's primer on it, and that was mainly to see if I had any flaws anywhere on this to get it going into a nice look. So it makes sure everything was clean in the way we wanted before we put our paint on. You can see there's some great accessories on here. There's even a hood ornament when it comes around here. All the little lights and things like that, mirrors, all that stuff got put on. Now it's in its fragile stage, we'll call it, because a lot of these little parts are pretty delicate, so you got to be very, very careful handling them. Now, I am going to do the black and white technique on this particular model because we're going to paint it in German gray. We want to make it an early war vehicle. And I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. But before we go any further on that, I want to talk about the actual kit and just what an absolute joy this was to put together. The engineering was very, very good on it, and everything fit exactly the way you'd expect it to fit. And no problems, no need for filler, no anything like that. Just a really great model. And quite frankly, a very cool model. I mean, it's so big and unusual, and for the mere fact that you can put a tank in the back of this truck, which will drop in right now, that is just pretty cool, I think, right there. So let's go ahead and put our black and white coat technique on it, and then we're going to go ahead and spray the entire thing with German dark gray. I'm just going to quickly talk about the black and white technique. You guys may have seen me do this many other times in my other videos. It's a matter of just spraying the entire vehicle with NATO black and then highlighting any of the areas that you think should be faded with white, which we are going to skip ahead right now. And now we are putting on the German gray, and we're just lightly misting it on. We don't want to put it on too heavy, because if you put it on too heavy, you'll cover up the black and white technique that you've already put on. So you just want to do a light mist coats and just gradually build it up till you get to the point that you like the way it looks on there, and you can see not a monotone look of the gray. Okay, here's what the vehicle looks like with its thin coat of the Tamiya German gray, and we've missed it over the entire thing there. Now we've got a few other parts. We have the top canvas cover, which we haven't painted or anything yet. We just have it sitting here. We will paint this up. We can apply that. We also have our windshield, which we need to mask and paint that up as well. And we also have our clear headlights, which they did a really nice job on those headlights. They look like real headlights there. Now, of course, we are going to paint the inside back in here silver to match the headlights and then glue those into place. But we're not going to do that until it is completely done getting weathered and everything like that. So right now, all we've done is spray the entire thing with TS80, the dull coat from Tamiya, just to seal in our paint job. And I know you can see how big this thing, normally I put it on my little turntable, anything I'm building, and it fits pretty well, but this thing is hanging way over on both front and back because it's just a massive, massive vehicle. Now, what I'm going to do is we are actually, you're probably wondering, where is the trailer? You didn't build or paint the trailer. And that is because we are going to turn this into a two-part video. And for a couple reasons. First of all, it's getting really close to Christmas time, and I am running out of time to get anything out for you guys. So I thought I would at least build up the truck, the main portion of the truck, so you guys can see it. The trailer, we are going to build the trailer in part 2. We're going to build, paint, weather the trailer as well as weather the truck itself and build it together, you know, weather it together so they match the type of weathering that we're going to put on it. Now, also, I'm hoping to get for the trailer, and I'm going to show it to you right now, are a set of decals that they are going to be producing that is a really, really beautiful set of wood grain detail. And the wood grain detail for the trailer is, as you can see here, are just beautiful. And I'm hoping to get a set of those for you guys to demonstrate those too. So when we do part 2, you'll be able to see it. Now, Das Werk is a brand new company that's come out. It is very, very nice. And if you saw the preview video I did, it is being molded by the same company that molds all the TACOM stuff. So a very, very high quality kit. I personally really enjoyed building this one quite a bit. The kit is due in mid-January in the United States and has a retail price of $79.99. Now, I will be carrying them here in my store in Arizona, but what I thought I'd do for you now is for my viewers all around the world, give you a couple other avenues that you'll be able to pick one of these up. First of all, for all my European viewers, there is a company called MBK. They are based in Germany, and they will have this kit. In fact, they have this kit right now up for pre-order. That I will give you their website down below in the description, and they will be able to get one of them on pre-order for you. They'll also be able to have those decals coming forward too. And if you can't get this kit at your local hobby store, what I'll give you also for the United States is a email address that you'll be able to contact MBK USA, and they will be either able to direct you to someone in the United States or get one direct from them. So please take a look down in the description. I will put those links down there that you'll be able to use. And great kit. I think you guys will be very happy with it. So there we are, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of the Faun build. I want to thank you as always for watching, and please stay tuned because we have many more videos coming.